All right, guys, here we are for a rewatch of a classic, Killer Klowns from Outer Space. So you saw this when it came out, or you saw it more recently?
No, this is one that I hadn't seen for a super long time.
Okay.
So I only had like fragmented childhood memories of it, and I went into this super nervous as a result. Because I'm like, oh no, what if what I remember is not what happened?
I saw this one on TV a lot as a kid.
Me too.
And I wasn't sure if TV changed a lot. It really didn't.
It's weird, right? Because I had the same experience, and I'm like, did I watch this on cable? Is there like racy parts or not? Like, what's happening or whatever? Yeah, exactly. I was like, wow, okay. So yeah, this was like a TV thing, like a weird thing as like a young child that I would catch.
You liked it as a kid?
Yes.
Yeah. It was weird. This was like a start into like the B world for me, where I was like, I don't know exactly what I'm watching. They're like, those are real actors, some of them. I'm like, but this doesn't feel like a real movie as a kid. It was like when you first see anime, you're like, something's different, but I don't know what. Like, there's some interesting shots here where I'm like, okay, there's like a combination of like painted and maybe matted things here. I'm like, what is going on with some of these shots? My young brain couldn't comprehend it. And as an adult, I just appreciate it.
It's old enough that some of the stuff is like that. A lot of the effects, a lot of like the things take this like whole time trip or whatever. Yeah, I think I appreciate it like more now, and I appreciated it a lot then. So it's the nice thing to like revisit or whatever, right? I can't really tell you what I remembered and whether or not it was true without spoiling things.
Gotcha.
Personally. But
I just remembered the creepy like clowns' faces and how cool they were, and like always like going, oh, that reminds me of something. It's because it's the same guy did Ernest Scared Stupid, and a lot of these actual things were like reskinned and repurposed to be in that movie.
That's amazing.
Yeah, to make them into trolls.
I would love to watch them both now side by side and like pick that out. That's great.
Yeah.
But they have that look, that like terrifying. Like this did feel like a very real movie to me as like a kid. I think where like it's got certain things that are that are different, but like the vividness of the imagery.
I think the impossible nature of the world and how things occur in this, like I wasn't familiar with that in live action things as a child. Like there wasn't a ton of that I'd seen, I think, before this, because this I would have seen this like far too young, I imagine.
Yes.
Because this came out like when I'm like a baby, and I probably watched it a few years after I was like, I'm watching TV now. Look what's on TV.
And your parents would be like, clowns, and go back to what they're doing, and you're like, what is happening? Yeah. No, and that's like the joy of this time period in these movies or whatever.
And there really is not much that goes. There's nothing really on screen tragically occurs.
Right.
Maybe a decapitation is the harshest thing you see, but even that happens in a comical sense.
Right. It's like a sci-fi comedy horror. It's not like a exactly. No, it's got a lot of charm. It's old, but I don't even have to like defend it that hard, I feel like, because
it's an oldie but a goodie, but a classic. So it's
like, I didn't remember most of the movie, so it isn't like nostalgia where I'm like, it's the thing I love. It's just like I was like I hope this holds up, and I feel like it does.
Yeah, I would agree. I think this holds up. I think if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. And if you have already seen it and want to hear what we thought about it, we're gonna head over to spoilers. So follow us over there.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video, and we eat the competition.
All right, guys, here we are for spoilers on Killer Klowns from Outer Space.
That's the ultimate spoiler. Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Right there.
Do you think they should have named it something else?
No, but I'm just saying.
I think they should have tried to slip in more alliteration and more K's.
the K in Clowns, I did not research that, but it's a whole. I'm like very curious as to why they did that. I have no
words as to why it's there, but it's something that's always stood out to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We think Killer Klowns was taken, or do you think?
I was gonna say. So in my head, I'm like, well, Clowns is just like a generic thing. You can't copyright Clowns, but you can copyright K-Lowns. Hell yeah! And then I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And then your thing, is just like maybe that was already used as like a title or something like that.
My thoughts were maybe it was already used, or maybe it was something where they're like, oh, we might get in trouble for associating clowns with killing.
The Clown Association.
Oh, that's not a clown. That's a race from outer space called Klowns.
Called the K-Lowns. Exactly. And I don't know. And it's
I'm
probably
making shit up, but it sounds fair.
It's probably in the trivia section. I just didn't read it, but yeah. That's what stands out, because it's kind of like Pet Sematary, where when you see the title card pop up, you're like, wait.
What's up with that? Yeah.
Wait, that's not what's in my memory, because your mind corrects everything and puts it all together.
Yeah, I do remember the first time searching Cemetery, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Did you mean this? No, I can spell.
Jerk.
So
what did you think about this?
Title card comes up, and this ripping guitar cover.
Yep.
this crazy thing happens, and I'm immediately transported to being like whatever 5 years old, whatever I was when I watched this sick ass awesome thing.
I had no visual memory on who the main characters of the movie were when it started. So like you see the guy like walk across the street like drinking a beer. I'm like, the main character,
my boy.
And then like you see him later at like Makeout Point, and I'm like, that's the last we'll see of him.
Yeah, no, like the memory is so weird. So going into this, I remembered cotton candy cocoons.
There was these clowns, and they was carrying these cotton candy cocoons, and they were shooting these popcorn guns.
I remembered hamper monster. And I remembered Trick Flower thing, which I thought was gonna be another like alien gadget, but it turns out to just be like a water thing.
Just water,
And I'm like, wow, weird or whatever.
For me?
And I just had this overall memory that like these are not aliens pretending to be clowns. These are actual like this is just how their society functions, and they are just monstrous clowns. And as a kid, that idea was so cool to me that like that alone carries through any sort of. So I forgot about the cop and the girl and the guy and I didn't know who the characters were, where they went, what they did. I forgot about all of that. I just had all this clown shit in my head.
Wow, check that out.
Yeah.
Which is all that's in there anyway.
Only like two of these characters, actors, actually like I'm like, oh, I know you very well from something else. Like you have like the Dean guy from Animal House is the major cop, like
the older
dick
cop, right?
Double secret probation.
Yeah.
And then the younger cop is from like Baywatch. He was like one of the guys on that show, I think, for a few years.
Okay. Congratulations. Yeah, thank you.
He looked a little familiar. The older cop, I like that guy. I know that guy. He's got a great voice. Sounds a little like Leslie Nielsen, and he's used here like really well in this like ain't pulling over on me and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah boy.
But I was like, he's also an idiot.
It's great. Yes.
But let's start where we start here. So a comet comes into town.
Real quick before the comet, because kids see the comet. Our two main characters, the couple, the lovers, are making out on an inflatable raft.
I would much rather be kissing you.
And I was like, that's amazing.
Ingenuity.
I know.
Nice and soft.
What you do in a pinch, yeah. And they seem fine with it, like moving around and stuff.
I think it's just smart because I imagine if you picture them, they're clearly like 35 years old. But if you picture them as like 18, 20, whatever in college kids they are.
Yeah.
And like you have to go home to the parents like, why is there a mattress in the back of your Bronco, Timmy? Why is there a kayak back there or whatever? Well, I like to go boating.
Why do you have 20 coats in your car? No, I know that, but it's still such a crazy thing to see in like a movie because everyone's not doing that. Just there at the thing, and you're like,
sure. Well, they're the smartest. Of
I know,
couples.
Which proves that they have the smarts to survive. Yes, exactly. So a big comet comes.
They see a comet.
Light shines
and this
upon
thing
them.
just like zips down, and we cut to like the woods with this old hick dude.
Yeah.
Who I love.
He's great.
I think he's great. I would like him to have survived longer to do cool things.
For a second, and the way he's talking to his dog before you like see a closer up on his face, I was like, it's the guy from Fraggle Rock. It's a reference. It's the same actor with another dog, and it calls Pooh Bear and stuff. It's amazing. It's not him.
I hate the only thing I hate about his character is the dog's name is Pooh Bear, and he says something. He's like Pooh Bear, where's Pooh Bear? I'll tear this down with my bare hands.
Where's my dog? Where's my Pooh Bear? I'll tear this thing apart with my bare hands.
Yeah.
Bear twice. I don't like bare hands and Pooh Bear in the same sentence.
One is B-E-A-R and one is B-A-R-E.
But he says it the same, and it's wrong.
Okay.
It seems like a writing mistake.
Yeah.
Like you could have done with my own hands. Like anything else would have sounded better. It took like some weight out of his words.
Right, because it was a Shakespearean soliloquy before.
It was.
And when you hit that second bear, you're just like, check off no on this one. Yeah.
Nah. And Pooh Bear's a dumb name anyway.
It's weird to name him something licensed and like for no reason or whatever. Yeah.
I always think it's fun, those creative choices where it's like, I'm going to get risky with it.
I don't know how many years on this earth I got left. I'm going to get real weird with it.
And it's like, it's important that he be called Pooh Bear. And it's like,
yeah,
no,
it matters not at all.
So he punches the tent revealing that it's made of vibranium or whatever it is, right?
He grabs one of the wires at one point and gets electrocuted.
This thing is wired!
And then he gets, the zap cannoned.
Yes.
And we don't even see, I think, at that point that the zap cannon cocoons you, right? He just turns red, I think, and it cuts away, maybe.
He does not turn into a cocoon there, but we've also, later we established that their guns can do different things.
True, yes.
So we don't know what gun he got hit with, and it was very early days.
That's mostly for the plot. They can do different things, but yes. So yeah, there's like a tent in the woods. It's crazy, and the comic goes, it's like the scene from the movie where the comic goes by, and then you approach, and it's like the wreckage of the ship, only it's a circus tent.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be greased and fried.
It's aping on the genre, and I love it.
They were very careful throughout to take all the things that would be in a movie like this about aliens and just put some clown shit in there instead.
Yeah.
And people act like those clowns are clowns for most of it.
Yeah, their
it's
heads
crazy.
are not a thing that could ever be, and this is not a time where there were large prosthetic masks that people were wearing around on Halloween. It's not Halloween also.
In this scene with the farmer, we see the first close-up of the clown. This movie wastes like no time. It's like 5-10 minutes in, and we see the teeth and all the stuff. It's terrifying.
There's also a cool thing where the guy just like I don't know if he pushes a button or if he shoots it, but he makes like a perfect hole appear that he pops in the wall, and he nets the dog. But for whatever reason, its scarf comes off and stays on the ground.
Yes.
That's just so you can get the farmer.
Yeah, I was going to say, for the reason of the old man going, no, not my Pooh Bear. Yeah. But no, like stuff like that, because that should be the spaceship thing of we can't see any openings. It's like a seamless surface. But then it goes and opens a portal in it and then grabs the dog and goes off camera. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm like, this is amazing. What are we doing?
There's a lot of sets and cool things happening in this movie. I like from the moment our teens approach, there is a door for them, and they just walk right in.
Come on, let's check this out.
But you start to see like the hallways of this place. You're like, what is this? And they're not really questioning anything. They're like, of course, there's this
he has
like a French.
He has a line. Oh, it's one of them circuses from somewhere, and you're like, what?
What kind of circus is this?
This is that new wave European Circus Fantastique.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it was a different time.
I know.
But it has these doors that I love.
Yes.
That just have it's a closed letter C that just turns to then focus to one doorway, and I'm like, that's super cool.
So in my memory, this was even better. Where depending on I
also added that.
Yeah, it would take you to a different place. But then in the wide shot here, as an old man, I can clearly see there's multiple doors and they go different places. And I'm like, oh,
there's different noises associated with each button. And
yeah.
In my brain, I was like, later he'll hear a pattern and have to hit that pattern. That'll never happen.
Or they'll be hiding and watch a clown go, and they'll go oh, that's what we have to do.
Yeah, that'll get us out of here.
No, there's just multiple doors, and there is just a rotating C-shaped corrugated material, and they just walk from the thing.
It takes them to the power core of the ship that goes deeper than the ship goes in both directions.
Yes.
I was like, I like this.
It's
I like this a lot.
It's a matte painting. You see Darth Vader throw the Emperor off and fall all the way down.
That was a very popular theme in things. It was catwalks over nothing or just big holes.
Yeah.
How do they repair anything in there? They don't.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they probably have little clown jetpacks.
That would have been something. For the sequel.
I know. There's a sequel coming out. It's in 3D or something like that.
I believe it. I'm actually shocked that we've been this long and there haven't been more things of this, because this is a cult classic. This is something
IMDb has something on it. It says Killer Klowns in 3. I don't know if that's a trap or whatever.
We've had 30 years where there could have been something every 10 years there could have even been oh, we want to make another one of those. Because the guys that did all the effects of this are still alive. They still make things. They're also the Critters guys. I think they have a project in the works right now too.
No, this is impressive, and I feel weird too that nothing happened, because in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, that movie. I bet it's shit. I was a kid. It's probably not good. And then watching it, I'm like, no, this movie's great. This movie's amazing.
Yeah.
And it should have, I'm sure it's a cult classic by, in name or in like reality.
Yeah.
So why does this not have more development, right?
More kid friendly actually than I remembered.
Yeah.
Because I thought as a kid, like watching it on TV, that what is this? La 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 la.
We're
I shouldn't
crossing
be
the
watching
line.
this.
Yeah, you're like scared of clowns.
But now I'm like,
Yeah.
I think you were okay watching that. Like
Yeah.
that's fine. There's not really much going on. This
Well,
this could have been a PG, like
Yeah.
if it were a few years older.
But yes, it's that like warping of like a nice thing into like a bad thing. Like the movies that had like A Killer Santa were protested or
Sure.
something. Like, you can't show Santa doing that.
Oh, that's why you would have put Santa with a C.
There's a point in this movie where a kid almost dies, and then at the last minute she gets saved or whatever. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, good.
And
in
I was like,
yeah.
I was actually wanting that to happen. So I'm like, oh, what's gonna happen here? Is he not gonna cocoon her? Oh, he's gonna bash her brains in. And in my head, I wrote a scene where she like opens the door and immediately gets like crushed, and everyone in there eating and just gets sprayed with blood, and they all look up horrified and just run off into the night. I'm like, that would be a scene I'd like to see.
Yeah. As she was approaching the door in my head, I'm like, wait, isn't there still a taboo against killing kids like on camera? How are they going to film this? What are they going to do with this? Why are they killing this cute little kid or whatever? And then, he has like the big novelty hammer. He's ready to go smash her. And then her mom ruins everything.
Yeah.
She's like, get back over
He's like
here.
the creepy, like he's like,
They're making googly eyes at each other. They're doing like the
Yeah.
thing and stuff like that. Yeah, I'd forgotten that that sequence. I'm like, oh, I must have blocked out this traumatic scene of a child getting their brains bashed in by this terrifying clown.
I also thought during one of the eye things, she was going to do this and he was going to be gone.
Yeah.
And then she would go out to look for him.
Oh.
But that didn't happen.
That would have improved the scene.
Yeah, I mentally improve scenes.
Exactly.
Like retroactively, so like I watch it, then I improve them and thinking that's what happened.
And then you tell people this movie's great, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's still great.
Only up here.
Yeah, it's better up here.
This movie's great.
It is.
I mean, other movies.
Always room for improvement.
So what happens next?
Okay, so we left off. They flee the spaceship. They
Yeah.
have to head back to town because they've discovered they saw someone getting put on the hooks. They know that there's
okay.
bodies inside this facility.
First thing on my list, cotton candy cocoons, and they peel off the little face thing,
Yeah.
and it's exactly, I don't know if I remember it before or after or whatever, right? But you're all like wet and bloody and gooey in
You're
there.
being
It's
like disintegrated in
yeah,
there.
it's like
you're turning into a goo.
It's dissolving you into like a cotton candy goo. You're being made into some sort of dessert that like takes a piece of fruit and boils it for 3 hours, and it like turns it into like a deep fried Oreo's hollow inside almost, right? It's a weird thing like that.
Gooey inside.
It becomes a gooey shell or
Yeah,
something.
something that's
only with a
taking
human.
care of you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It could have had more weight to them in a lot of things.
In the
Like,
cocoons,
I thought
yeah.
that when the clown did it, I was like, okay, the clown's strong as fuck. Like this
Yeah.
could be anything. But there's a part later where like they kind of walk through them and there's like they're empty punching bags or something,
Yes,
and I was
yes,
like, oh,
yes.
you took a little out of there. That could have been
Okay,
something.
sure.
Not a big fault though. Still loved like that there's practical things happening there, and like you can see like the top backgrounds of some scenes are like painted things, and I like that. I like that era. I want more things like that.
Come on, come on.
Oh, the comedy even, it wasn't a great example of it, but that old style of doing effects where they're like painting it, I think, like onto the film or whatever they used to do, some crazy
bullshit.
thing. Yeah, some layering thing where it's like a
Or
different
painted
thing.
glass in front of the like
Yeah.
as it films.
They had to do things like in camera, but like extra, or like
Mm-hmm.
where either matte paintings, which I always love, or that like we're like shooting a magic bolt and it's like a weird like
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
like, what? Even those things that were fake then look realer than fake things now.
I much
right?
prefer those things,
Yeah.
and I'm like, can I pay extra for that? Like, can we bring that back? That's
Ghost-
a thing.
the Ghostbusters,
I
like,
wanted the new
beam.
Ghostbusters to look like that because
Yeah,
that
yeah.
shit's so good. And it's weird to say because that's real. That's how things actually look. And I don't think it's just that I'm an old man and I remember that and I have
Right.
nostalgia for it. It looks better. Like not biased. Like that is better looking. It's a cooler look.
Yeah, because some new things also look good or whatever, and some do not, right?
Like,
so you could point at it and
for
be
me,
like, no.
any CG like Mad Max style stuff, were like, oh, you're enhancing things that weren't there to make it just look normal. I'm like, that's the perfect use of CG. But things that I'm like, oh, it's gonna be CG, make it goofy, fun shit that like, I don't know what a proton pack looks like. That probably.
Probably that.
Yeah. But back to this movie. So
they're fleeing the scene.
They're fleeing the scene. They're being shot at by popcorn gun.
Oh,
and you're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. And that just adds to their story. Once they meet up with people, they have to like rant and rave.
Yeah.
There's clowns, there's cotton candy. They even call them cotton candy cocoons. I wrote that down before I hit play on the movie. And like cotton candy cocoons is like what I remember. So they're like, there's cotton candy cocoons, they're killing people, there's a big circus tent in the middle of the woods, they shot us with popcorn guns, and everyone's just like, oh,
you're high. Ooh. We have to lay down.
A little bit of the reefer up in
you got the madness.
Yeah, oh, yeah, exactly.
So of course they're not being believed, and because this is in the 80s, they take the woman home and they drive the guy out into the woods.
Yes.
To either find a tent or beat him to death, presumably, because that's his ex-girlfriend.
He even says like, what the hell? He's gonna kill me up there, and she's like, oh, don't worry about him.
Probably gonna take me up on top of the hill and shoot me.
Look, don't worry about Dave. It's those clowns you gotta worry about.
So they go up there. I thought the cops actually behaved kind of reasonably, because the old cop's a prick, but the younger cop is kind of like, okay, let's go up there. He said people are dying. I'm not going to be like, right? It really sucks when all the cops are like, you're crazy, right? So he was like, all right. And then when they get up there, they just see a big hole. He immediately handcuffs them, right?
Yeah.
No, I know what I saw. I just can't prove it. My proof is gone.
Yeah, right. Turn around, pal. Mooney was right, huh? Got nothing better to do but cause problems.
So you're kind of like, that too is reasonable. I like that.
I'm like, well, but I'd be like, there is a big hole there.
That's
like,
a problem.
Is that
yes.
not something for you? Come on.
How did this big hole get there?
Yeah.
That would have been my next question.
I do agree
yes.
though, like he is obviously the reasonable cop. He's the one that went to the police academy, and the other guy I think is old enough that he just joined before there was ever a thing like that.
Right.
Oh, we just need people to help out. Okay, you're deputized.
You're a mean guy with a gun. Why don't you do that for a living?
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm already there.
And yes, the younger cop, reasonable and like, okay, if you hear 4 people call in with the same problem, go look.
Well, the older cops are later on. Yeah, there's a scene where I think he's got a cigar in his mouth and he's staring at a bunch of blinking phones and he's like, you're not gonna put one over on me.
Exactly.
And like puts his, and you're like, what?
Frig yous all. You ain't gonna get the best of me.
They're all in on it. They got me, and you're like,
he even gets a call from like an old guy down the street. I'm like, you think the guy that owns the pharmacy is in on this joke?
That gives him pause. He's like, oh, could he have gotten old Mr. McGillicuddy in on this? They must have.
Mr. Myers? Did the Renzi brothers have the whole town in on this? Huh. What the hell with them all?
The like third thing, right, is he then takes the handcuffs off as soon as he sees a car full of cotton candy.
And that's good too, because a lot of movies do this thing where you're like, I'm like, that's your proof. Why are you still treating him like there's not proof here? The moment, like a shred of evidence was there, like, oh, something pink. You're free to go, son.
All right, get out. Turn around.
What are you doing, man? You're not gonna hit me, are you?
Oh, just turn around, pal, all right?
Look, I'm sorry about Debbie, man. I didn't know she was
Just drop it, Mike. Check this out.
No, there's like so many movies, right, where it's
like every movie, honestly.
Like, that's what I mean. It's just so ahead of its time, because like as soon as you see a body that's been torn apart and there's furry stuff everywhere, the guy who's like, we saw a werewolf, and you handcuff because you thought it was crazy, uncuff him, because that's the most terrifying thing ever. You're the one who knows about the problem, and now you handcuff behind your back.
Oh yeah,
and like they're coming for you, right? So yeah, just pop him over there, and he does.
I like that
He's
happened.
Like,
that is above.
And even the 35-year-old kid is like, are you gonna like beat me? Are you gonna plant evidence on me and kill me now or something?
Yeah.
And I was like, shut up. And
I thought it was weird that he just couldn't see what was happening. Like, I'm like, the window's right there. You can't see that all these cars are shattered and like things are bad.
Yeah, stuff's blinking. There's like debris and stuff. But maybe they party hard up there. I don't know.
I wanted that guy with the beard to be alive and hidden somewhere. Because I'm like, why did we see him twice? I feel like he should come back.
That guy reminded me of the dude in like Troll 2 or some of those other
movies.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh my God!
There's always a guy like that, but he was the guy who was like, oh no, and all that stuff.
Dude, speaking of weird characters, in the beginning, the two kids that get brought in for drinking, yeah.
We just had a little wine. What's the problem?
You're the problem, you little shit.
I love the punks.
Oh, dude. But again, like that's like a 38-year-old punk. Like that guy doesn't fit in at all. It's especially the one guy on the left. The one guy with I think a hat or the shorter of the two. That guy, I'm like, okay. If that guy makes sense, the other guy doesn't make sense at all. Like he looks so weird.
Well, I mean, we live in this town too. I mean, we don't have to just stay on campus.
And there's a series of weird haircuts in this. Like later on, there's a group of bikers where the guy has like one buzz down the center of his head.
Hey Eddie, that a new bike you got?
What's happening, Spike?
And I'm like, what's that haircut? And I'm like, he didn't show up that way. You had to have been like, you cool with a buzz cut? We're just gonna shave a little bit of your head. Yeah, I'm in the movie.
The reverse mohawk thing or whatever. Yeah, that's a daring look.
It is.
Speaking of people who are like way old and out of place, though, his two ice cream truck friends.
Yes.
I told you they weren't that stupid.
One of them is just like a 40-year-old man, I feel like. And this is like throwing shade, I guess. People just looked older back in the day. But also, they might be older. I love these two people in the ice cream truck, though. It reminded me of Once Bitten.
Ice cream truck.
Well, we have two friends.
Meets Twisted Metal.
Who are obsessed with getting laid. Who are not the right age and vaguely Canadian and everything fits, right? And then they do get laid finally.
With the bad things.
By the bad things, exactly. And I was like, that's hilarious.
That's a good comparison.
This only came out about like 3 years after, and I feel like maybe every movie just did this exact thing. Something like that.
The only two clown women we see, period, are the ones that they hook up with.
Are you Debbie's roommates?
And it did seem like their breasts grew on the spot.
One of them was getting bigger.
Men?
One of them was actively getting way bigger. I'm not sure if the other one was on frame or frame.
I pictured that they both were supposed to, but I think like maybe they the air compressor wasn't working at the right moment.
That's my headcanon too. That these are aliens that are like hermaphroditic, or they have a cloaca or something like that.
Well, they are not. They're not. They're aliens. So
they don't have a male and
even,
female thing. So those are just more clowns, but in wigs.
Well, and we know they can change their voices.
Yes.
And only talk when it's convenient. So why couldn't they change their appearance?
Exactly. They have so much technology.
I didn't even notice. One of the clowns was so short, and I only noticed like way later than I should, I think, where I was like, wait a minute, how tall is that guy? Is he nothing?
Mean bike you got there. Yeah. Can I take a ride, pal?
I agree. So like the little clown we're talking about,
green-haired guy.
He's the guy who meets the bikers. He's the guy who, what are you gonna knock my block off? Whoopang! And he does.
What are you gonna do? Knock my block off?
So I will say that's the best scene in the movie for me for one simple reason, and you could miss it if you blink, is he punches the head off, and then the way the body folds itself up is unbelievable. And I have to imagine it's a luck of the draw. Like it's just an empty sack of body that just fell, and the way it fell, it like crumpled up in the best way.
His like legs bend backwards, and then his like torso falls over the legs and stuff. I noticed that, and I also thought it was great.
So good.
I was like, how'd they do that? And your thing of like luck. Like, okay, probably luck.
I feel like, and I could be totally wrong.
Yeah.
But it seemed like it just dropped. Like they probably shot that 4 times. They're like, ooh, that one. That's the one.
Stick that one in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole sequence was funny. He like breaks his bike, and he's being a super dick to him.
And it's part of a series of just, well, let me just write up some funny things that the clowns could do. Okay, how about he's like doing a little shadow puppet thing? Okay, cool.
Holy shit! Believe it.
How about he's doing actual puppets? Oh, that's cool too. Is that too close to the other thing? No, it's fine. He's like a pizza delivery guy, and he just kills somebody.
Pizza.
When he does the Punch and Judy show thing, when that clown comes out of that little box, and it all like breaks away, and he's this huge clown or whatever. Terrifying. I'm sure I had a nightmare.
I love the puppet with the gun.
Yeah.
I think that's super cool. I'm gonna make a painting of it.
Oh yeah, hell yeah! Look for that on the Etsy we don't link to.
Never.
Hell yeah, sell those. No, there's a lot of like that. So like like you're saying, there's like a long montage delivering pizza, and then like the little guy's somehow in the pizza, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Little heart box. I wrote down like a bullet list of all that. But like I was gonna say the exact same thing. Like we made this movie, not we, but the people who made this movie sat down and said, we gotta make a movie. What can we do with clowns? And they thought of like 25 things, and they took half of them, and they were like, all right, let's go film those things.
They took like 5 of them, and they were like, okay, 2 of these are very similar to the other 2 of these. That's fine. It'll be easier. Yeah. 2 delivery ones and 2 puppet ones. Good. And then we need another one. I don't know. Bikers.
Jesus! Oh no! Come on, Joe!
They also go to the drugstore. And I laughed at at this because like the first time it cuts to the owner of the drugstore who's like like while they're doing it, right?
Yeah.
That was like whatever. The second time we're like, they've been in there for like an hour and he's still in the corner like, oh please stop.
That whole sequence, so every one of the one-off killing things and the whole drugstore thing struck me as almost could have been pickups later where they're like, okay, we only ended up with 110, well, an hour 10. We need like another at least 10. 15 maybe. Okay, let's okay, got the costume still? Yeah. All right. We'll just film a couple of random things, get some extras. We got this.
Yeah.
Cuz it can pull right out of the movie and not do anything. But they're fun. I'm not saying it should be out of the movie, but those are the type of like we need filler kind of things.
No, but it's the epitome of like what order do they need to be in? How did this clown get from here to it's like
and there are so many clowns.
Yeah.
If you would have asked my like what do you remember from this movie?
In your mind,
there's 3 that I remember.
Okay, yeah.
It's the fat one, the short one, and the red-headed one.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that I remember. And I feel like those are the ones that are in like oh, we're selling pins or we're selling action figures or something like that. I feel like the rest of them are just not featured at all.
Yeah, and like at the end, like it's not even like a trick because there's one point where the clowns are vacuuming up cocoons and they're driving like a big like Dr. Seuss parade float thing around the street and all that stuff. And the guy who's driving the machine, I was like, is that one of those other clowns wearing with like a wig on? That's cheating or something like that. But at the very end, there's a whole crowd of clowns, so they had at least that many.
Well, I think there's 4 or 5 like face options, and then like they make them up a little differently, and the hair changes.
Yeah.
In that ballpark. And then those all got reskinned again for Ernest.
Oh, wonderful! That's such a great background story of like them scared stupid
Ernest
boys.
Scared Stupid, one of the best movies of my childhood.
I'd like to thank you each and every one for this beautiful bowling trophy. Thank you.
He never knew when to quit.
The girlfriend said, as soon as you guys leave, I'm gonna go up to the thing, and she does not do that.
Yeah, I'll follow you. No, she says as soon as you leave, I'm gonna follow you. And he said, no, what are you crazy? I don't even want to go there. You stay here, lock the door, and don't come out for anybody.
As soon as you guys leave here, I'm gonna follow you guys up there.
You're gonna follow us up there, Debbie? I don't even want to go up there. Listen, you stay inside the house and keep the door locked. I'll be back here in a little bit to check on you.
And she does that.
Okay, yes, she did. Okay, but she doesn't do what she said she was going to do. I'm just saying.
Well, because immediately the man
I understand.
told her not to.
I understand.
And you have to listen
because
to
of
the man.
Yes. You don't have to remind me about the patriarchy. Okay, yes. So she's like taking a shower. I think it's like no like revealing stuff though, right?
No, of course not.
And this now we're getting to my second or third memory is the hamster monster. We keep cutting back to her.
I love that you call
throughout.
it hamster monster.
Oh, I'm sorry, hamper monster.
That's better.
Yeah.
I was like, he's gonna have a story as to why it reminds him of hamsters.
Yes. Did I say hamster earlier?
I believe so, and I was waiting for the explanation.
Go back, cut that out. Hamper monster.
They set this up briefly with him dumping some popcorn into a dumpster to kill someone. So you're like, oh, something's crazy with the popcorn.
Right. So like
That's not normal popcorn.
They shoot him with popcorn. You see popcorn. I think before that even you see the one piece of popcorn like crawling along the ground or whatever, right? Yeah. So it's all coming together, right? And then finally, yes, the hamper explodes. There's two long dudes in there. The medicine cabinet has dudes in it. The toilet has like a Beetlejuice style hamster snake.
And those are great. They're puppeteered really well. Like I didn't look very closely, but I didn't see. Sometimes you can be like, oh, I see the wire, or I know how that's moving. I was like, I don't know what's happening there, but I like it.
And sometimes with like a long thing, you can see even
like
if you
the kinks or support parts.
Right, you can't see the wire, but you can see where it's like must be hoisted by because it's like dipping and hoisting and stuff.
Yeah.
These are quickly done. They're like briefly, inserted, but it's great.
Yeah. She gets a bit on the shoulder with no visible damage. They're pretty good. She shoves a water spigot thing, like, I gotta shower myself, I'm old, into its mouth.
I was like, does he inflate and explode now? Oh, good, not. Because I hate that, but yes.
He should have been like, oh.
He's like, oh, this is unpleasant. Yeah.
He's kind of like Cookie Monster, where the water's just kind of coming out right here. But that's fine.
Well, he's a puppet.
She takes the shower curtain, throws it over the other two, and just like vaults over, and I'm out.
Yeah, she gets
just in time for the boyfriend to get there and help her, but it's not the boyfriend.
Debbie, it's Mike. Open up.
Mike?
Debbie.
Which they only use this one time, I believe. And it's a crazy thing, which I love.
Yeah.
Because it's like, open up, it's Mike, open up. And then she opens up and it's the giant clown going, open up, it's Mike. It's like, what is happening? Yes.
There's a lot of interesting effects on voices throughout the space shuttle stuff, because like when they're in there, it's like tinier. Like, did you pick up on that?
No, I didn't.
Has an interesting sound. Where I was like, oh, I like this. There's some sound design stuff happening, and some weird, which you usually hate when they do the drop-in like noise stuff. There's one part where like he like hits something. It's like clang, like in the worst like effective clang.
Noises I love. My pet peeve is like extra dialogue put in.
Oh yes.
And they do some of that.
Yeah, there's that in this too.
If we're gonna skip towards the end, there's a part where the cop's walking down the stairs, and I'm pretty sure his mouth doesn't move at all. But there's dialogue because they have to, and like this was even not ruining it, but it like takes away from my memories of like these are just randomly clown-based aliens. Because the stupid ice cream man has to be like, no, maybe they visited Earth before, and that's where we got clowns from. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Shit, Dave. Maybe they're the ancient astronauts, that came to our planet centuries ago. And our idea of clowns just comes from them. How come they're not funny?
No, don't do that. Because I'd forgotten that from like being a kid and all that stuff. So that's a whole thing.
I like that in quotes. Like
I like that,
ideas of like oh no, we don't think aliens are that. That's what that is. But for clowns, it doesn't make sense. So I'm like, well, what year would they have? They wouldn't have come when we were like cavemen and we've been like clowns. And like there's cave paintings of clowns.
Right. It's
like
not,
it works if they're like dinosaurs or something.
Yeah, like clowns are not like a mythological or like religious symbol that you would trace back tens of thousands of years to be like ancient aliens and astronaut clown
when they
things.
attacked the castles, we then had harlequins to defend and make us laugh.
I kind of hated that, and some of that conversation feels dubbed. It's probably not. It's probably just his mouth's too small on the screen. But I was like, I hate this conversation. But it's brief, and then we move on.
Yeah.
Back at the house though, with what's her name, before she gets put into a giant balloon. Which is what you mentioned before about sometimes the gun does something else because the plot needs it to. I don't care about that, it's fine. She's gonna jump out the window to like save herself, and there's a bunch of clowns on the
fire
bottom,
brigade.
like in the old cartoons, and I assume Life, but it's a tiny one, like a circus thing where she's gonna jump, and like doing the thing. I love that so much.
The thing I think is interesting about them taking her in the balloon is there are other balloons at the place. Like, so there's presumably a whole bunch of alive women, maybe not just women, but my thought was, which they never explain, is
women.
that they're taking women for some sort of a breeding thing.
That's
or
where
something.
I go with it.
And maybe even taking men and women to breed them, to have kids in space that they could turn into whatever. Treat us like like a livestock situation, because they have so many cocoons.
Yeah.
I guess they'll be good for a good while, but he does seemingly drink a whole one maybe at one clip.
So
with his big ass sippy
luckily
straw.
you mentioned that, because once he like approached it, I was like, I remember something else. Because yes, this giant crazy straw, and he drinks from the.
I thought it
cocoon.
shriveled up, but it doesn't.
It does not.
So there's another false memory where I made it better. I guess.
And he like taps it and stuff. Like
he was checking ripeness.
Implying again, yeah, that maybe your whole body has liquefied and turned into this like gel that now they're gonna drink and all that stuff. I love this movie.
Yeah.
I can't express this enough. Yeah, he's like tapping it like a melon, and then he's like stabs it with a straw and drinks a bunch of it. Yeah.
There's a part, I think just before that, maybe not. I might be screwing up the order here, but when there's a security guard at the pier and they pie the shit out of him.
What are you going to do with those pies, boys?
But they're like Joker-style acid pies that like turn him to nothing.
His line, what are you gonna do with all those pies? Like it cuts to like all the clowns get out of a clown car.
Yeah.
But it's not even that many clowns,
but they're very big.
But the car's like pretty big too. It's not even too super unreasonable. Like it's impossible.
The park's closed. I'll have to ask you to leave.
They have a pocket TARDIS dimension, you know, in that thing. That's fine. Then it cuts to the security guard. It cuts back to them, and they all suddenly have pies. And then it cuts back to the guard, and he's like, "What are you gonna do with those pies?" Oh, it's my favorite. It's peak cinema. I unironically love it so much.
Oh no, it's great when they show up and you just see like a skeleton arm coming out of it. You're like, all right.
The guy's like, it's like a big melted pile of ice cream. It's like, no, it's a big melted pile of
But the one guy
security
like touches it with his finger, and I'm like, can we get some burning there or something?
Or like a little.
Hey, you guys, this is weird. Look at this stuff.
Looks like a wad of melted ice cream.
Yeah, well, it's not.
Delicious.
If that would have happened first, and then realized it was a skeleton, and then vomit. Yeah. But I still would have liked the burning, like rubbed on his pants
and stuff.
Like keep getting layers.
It's like it's like Aliens, where it burns through everything. Yeah,
I think that could have been funny. So like they're they're on their mission to rescue the girl from her balloon cocoon thing. Yeah. I do love that when they sneak in, they shoot the balloon, and it was a line of balloons, so he could have like shot and tried to free like a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Can't be bothered.
No, so they have to pop the balloon. The boyfriend's like feebly beating on it. It's really dumb. And then like while punching it didn't work, we have to shoot it. That's the only thing. I'm like, doesn't anyone have anything? What are we doing?
You got like a needle?
Something. Well, later.
Yeah.
So
well, we haven't said this at all. Actually, is
yeah.
that their weakness is their noses. If you shoot their nose, they explode into like glitter and fireworks or whatever.
And the weird spinny effect and like a weird, I'm not a huge...
Oh, you gotta spin.
I didn't love this death effect as much. Like the first time it happens is at the police station. We actually didn't really get too much into that. So one of the, so like our...
Oh yeah, we didn't mention the puppeteered like up the butt guy.
When that old cop says earlier, no one's gonna make a dummy out of me.
But you're not gonna make a dummy out of me.
I was like, oh, foreshadowing, because it like clicked that memory into my head. This movie was just this journey of like
the creepiest scene in the movie.
Unearthing yeah, exactly.
His face, he's really selling that I'm a dead man puppeting in this thing. Like
he's got a cold dead eyes, like a dollar's eyes.
I love it, and it's like blood coming out of his mouth that makes it look like he has the ventriloquist mouth.
All of that, this
pretty
like
nice.
Weird coincidence / whatever thing. So one of the clowns comes in to like the police station, and like I like remembered this too. He puts the handcuffs on him and goes, and like takes them. His hands fall off, but they seem like gloves. But then he has like new hands that are exactly the same. It's crazy. All of their clown-based
It's because those were the gloves the actor was wearing, and then those were those same gloves again popping out.
Just had to hide the fact that he was doing a thing. Yeah. But he slips out of the handcuffs, and the guy's pissed, and he's trying to put him in the cell with the punks, and the punks are backing away. Like, it's the old prison scene of like, uh-oh, who's the new person?
They get cocooned. Spoilers.
Yes, and that's how the,
well, he tries to like blackjack that dude, and he doesn't move at all, and that guy's then like terrified. He's like, oh shit, you're strong as fuck. I'm out. OP.
Yeah, and he's like closes the cell door, and he goes with like the noisemaker thing, but it turns into a hand.
So good.
Yeah. Yeah, and pulls him in.
It's such a cheap effect, but it's so cool.
That was like a weird Pee Wee Herman-ish, like claymation-y, filmed backwards, crazy thing. I love that thing. He pulls him and knocks him out on the thing, whatever.
I love
and
that.
then they leave it up to your imagination how he gets out of the cell and cocoons the guys, does all of his business because he's a clown. He's got powers. It's fine.
Yeah.
Has to figure out.
Well, he could have just grabbed the keys off the guy and opened the door.
All those
It's
things.
probably on his belt.
Yeah.
I would guess.
He just
I was
locked the
never
door, I
worried
assume.
about it though, so I don't even care.
Not a flaw at all. Just I love that you come back later with young cop and there's like footprints on the ground and they kind of then go
And
up
the
on
walls
the wall.
and
yeah, and that's that old trope too of like there's footprints, but then one is like half on a thing or going up, and then he goes to like the next room and they're everywhere, and you're like, okay, you're just fucking with me. This is hilarious. Yeah.
No, that was great. I was also like, I'm like, is that painted on? Are those like shower stick things? Like, what is that? Because you ruined this office.
They're all red and like one's blue. It's so weird.
Yeah.
I love
there may
things
have been
that
a few
are
yellow ones, or I've made that up.
It's like a loaf of bread.
I think.
Looney, you back here?
No, so this whole thing, and then he comes back out, and that's where the dude's, he like slowly spins in the chair, and then has the old cop as a puppet. When he pulls it out, like pulls it out of his back, and then goes, and does the thing. I was like, this is awesome.
I was half expecting his hand to be totally clean after the, but it was still red.
It was?
Yeah, it was still bloody. I thought, I'm like, well, he's a clown, comedy, whatever.
Magic.
But that was great, and he, like, he takes multiple bullets to the chest, and he's just like, idiot. Didn't even smear the makeup. Like, here I come. That was great, and then he gets shot in the nose.
That's where we find out, he gets like a lucky, I guess he's like, I should probably shoot him in the head. This is probably going to be better. But he hits him in the nose. And only damages the nose.
You think though that should be like a moment in Signs where it's like, we found a weakness in this, Israel. We gotta tell everyone about this. Like he like very very much sleeps on information and doesn't like tell anybody until like just before it's like, oh yeah, if you shoot him in the nose,
shoot him in the nose, and leaves. Yeah, exactly.
Now flash back to where we left off, where they're in the structure. They saved the girl and they're trying to make their getaway, and they're getting surrounded by fucking clowns.
This is a great chase scene because we kill several clowns.
Yeah.
We find several, just passing through several other insane, you might say it's a posse of insane clowns. Like number chasing them starts to like dwindle. It starts to give you hope. They finally get through. There's another door and another door.
Yes.
Every crazy possible thing, weird swaying stuff, weird like you walk into the dragon's mouth things. All these crazy things happen. You slide down a pole and there's a monster and there's a Snarlack, whatever. Snorlack.
Why did you go any further? Good reason.
How come you guys stopped here? Good reason.
Okay. And we end up all the way at the end, and like you have hope because you're like, okay, they've been killing clowns, things are good, whatever. And then they end up having to climb a tower that feels like it's made of like blocks and weird children's shit.
Yeah.
Because there's now like 20, 30 clowns.
So many clowns.
All closed in, and they have like neon bats with nails in them and like crazy weapons. Where you're like, what is happening?
Yeah, this is the most unrealistic part of the movie. That's not a super realistic movie, but the ice cream truck bursts through. They're like, this is God, or whatever the hell they say, and like everyone's looking at them, and they just walk right past these transfixed clowns. And I'm like, what? Like you're touching that clown. He's not doing nothing. all right, whatever. Suspension of disbelief. It's a movie.
They probably could have done a different thing with it to make it better and make more sense, whatever.
Like had them all walk towards the thing, and then you could have snuck away.
If you had blocked out the scene differently and made it more believable, had like a zip line they could sneak past, and all the clowns realize, but now it's too late, and they're like, fuck,
something.
Because
they literally just walk to the thing everyone's looking at. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But that's fine.
And they've seen the ice cream truck before, I believe.
Yeah.
Or other clown things. So, like, maybe, you could have set up earlier that, when they see an Earth clown, they think that that's something important and they behave differently or whatever. Let's script doctor this 30-year-old movie.
When they see a gorilla in a muumuu, they act accordingly.
They do.
So they now are attempting to get out of there. The clowns start to file away.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, what's happening here? And then the T-Rex of clowns fucking comes down on puppeteering strings.
Believe on IMDb it is actually credited as Clownzilla.
Okay, I wasn't saying that was his actual name.
No. I just mean they acknowledge how because in my notes I wrote big badass clown from a video game where it's the big boss comes down.
Yeah, it's a longer face and he's ready for fucking business.
And has strings like a puppet, but then just breaks them off or something like that. I don't know if that was how they lowered him, so that was an accident or that's intentional.
I think it's a combo,
right?
That is how they lowered him. But yeah, he's being lowered in sync and cutting his strings and going after people.
In sync.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then he, the sheriff or the whatever he is, the cop guy's like, all right, I'll save these ones. No, first he actually kills the ice cream truck. I forgot about that part. Kills the ice cream truck, tosses a prop truck. Like a Godzilla movie, it explodes.
We should say real quick, so the big dude who's just a guy in a suit is coming down in the background, and they do that split scene frame old-timey thing, because it's the perspective thing where he looks huge, and it's very cute for an old way of doing it. I'm
it worked.
Yeah, it's fine.
Really, if it was just a person, it wouldn't have worked as well. But because he's this grotesque clown, you're like, all right, what do you got here?
And then the movie proves its scale that it kind of hinted
at you.
Yeah,
grabs
the next
truck. Yeah,
and he's beating it like a thing and throwing it and stuff. It's so great.
Yeah, so it explodes, killing the two brothers.
Who, by the way, show up to save the day, and they are covered in different colors of lipstick, and their clothes are shredded.
Rich, Paul! Oh man, am I glad to see you guys.
And I'm like, right on, dude. Let's go. Awesome. Got more than you bargained for. I would have liked a quick cut right before the ship explodes to those two female clowns smoking cigarettes.
I though. Are you whatever that girl's name's roommates?
Are you Debbie's roommates?
You Deb's roommates? Whatever Deb knows.
I make sure to never learn anyone's name.
It would just confuse us.
It's information that's not needed.
No.
So the cop does the token I'll hold him off, you leave. The thing is 17 times his size. I'll hold him off. Yeah. And the fact that he's able to kill him is actually ridiculous because he punctures him with the end of his badge in his nose. You'd think just by scale of how big he is, it should be at least thicker than, and it took a gun to kill the other ones, but whatever. He kills him.
So this scene perfectly mirrors a scene from Game of Thrones that took place many years later, and it was just as believable and arguably equally good.
Okay.
Because he picks him up, and it's a big foam hand, but it's good. It's not.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
It's on the good side, because it is what it is, right?
Yeah, it's better than an early King Kong.
Yeah, and we've seen different stuff. So late '80s, right? This is fine. Everything's fine. And then lifts him up and kind of puts him in front of his face, I'm gonna look at you for a while. And then he's able to get an arm free and get his badge, and then go.
Did you catch the budget on this one?
No.
Yeah, me either. If I can find it, I'll throw it up.
Even if we knew it, though, it would be in like ancient dollars, right? It would be like Aramaic.
No, I'm impressed, and we know how talented the people that made it are. Like the three brothers, so like, and they bring a lot to the table that you couldn't necessarily put money on because they are the money.
Right, because they're not paying anybody else. They can just do the thing.
Exactly,
right?
having talent is worth a lot of money.
That's the joy of the old movies and the budget and all this stuff. Where it's like, how'd you make this? It's like, well, we spent 40 days in the desert, and everyone was very upset. And you're like, oh, and so you just paid them the normal amount of money. Today it's this crazy thing, and you're like helicoptering in Evian water or something like that.
Ugh.
Yes.
So the thing takes off like a top, it's going up, and the thing's zipping like crazy.
By the way, kind of looks like in Tron when the big thing's spinning around, because it's an old effect and it's this weird spinny colors things. But like the like long straps or long rope things or whatever break off and go and like get sucked into the top and all that stuff. It was very charming. This whole thing.
Charming was the word I was thinking.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and then it's like out of the blue falls the little clown car, and inside it is our brothers and the cop. You're like, okay, everybody's happy, we've survived. No main characters died. Woo!
Yeah, no.
Dave! You made it!
Like the main characters, well, like the couple get out, and then all these cop cars are there. And I'm like, oh, good, the cops are going to see this crazy shit.
At least they got to see it, so no one goes to jail for like, well, you murdered everyone, obviously, you're the only ones alive.
You somehow melted a security guard, and he tastes delicious. Like, this is horrible, right? But yeah, no. And then, as like a bonus, we get the ice cream truck people covered in stuff or whatever.
Wow, what a ride!
Well, that's the last time we let you drive.
And our cop is like, woo! And all that stuff coming out of there. And, and they escape in, like in a sci-fi movie when you would go in the shuttle and like escape the it's so, I'm like, it's so great.
That's the stuff.
It's really very similar to Independence Day. All these things are coming and like they're harvesting us. Like one of them even like talks in like a weird way, right? Because the puppet scene is exactly like the scene in when like Data or whoever. That's literally
same.
Don't worry, we just want to kill you, and then he kills him. What happened? They're gonna take all of our world. It's.
Don't worry, Dave. All we want to do is kill you.
They stole that scene.
They must have. Yeah. That's literally the same scene.
Exactly. I was thinking that while it was happening.
Were you?
I was actually.
Okay, because I was, so I'm happy. Yeah.
I was like, that's that.
Good times.
And like, there's not even like sometimes you'd be like, well, I'm in math. Which one came first? I'm like, this one. This one came first by a lot. Like.
Yeah. The math is always in the killer clowns' favor.
This is our lucky day. We're gonna be rich.
So the very, very, very end, though, the last scene, like in the thing. They're happy. Cops here, ha. No, it's your idea. Callbacks, comedy, normal movie stuff. And then like glitter, like light things start to fall from the sky because something exploded up there. And it was full of clown shit, so it makes total sense.
Sure.
Then our three mainest characters are pelted with desserty pie looking things.
Yeah. Do you think it's over?
Yeah, sure.
And my immediate thought is, are they going to die now?
Yes.
Are they going to melt?
Before you know.
And it freeze frames and it goes away.
Yeah, I was wondering because I was like, well, they wouldn't have any pie that was just food.
Right?
Right? Because 8 people, so they only have acid pies.
They only have trick pies or whatever.
Yeah. I kind of think it would have been better if it wasn't pie, popcorn rained down. And like the guys are like, and the girl's like, ah! Because she knows what that's going to turn into.
Popcorn. And then,
I wonder if she actually even put 2 and 2 together if she knows that was the popcorn. She might not even. It might have been fine to end it with just like popcorn.
That's the, what is that, the Night of the Living Dead 2 or 3 ending where they're like burning the body and then with the greens, that's that ending. I love that. That would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Because I had the same thought of like, aren't there things in there that do things that are horrible or something?
And the monsters are still in her house.
Yeah.
And I wondered too, is that the first evolution of them growing into real full-size clowns?
Yeah.
Or is that its own species? Because it's weird that it has a very similar face to them if it's not them.
Right. Exactly. So it has clown noses, the mouths are kind of different, but the fact that it's this long thing, right, we don't know the life cycle of the killer K-Clown.
At all.
So we don't understand if that's
sperm.
But then it's like, shouldn't their main goal just, to just be doing the popcorn thing? That means he has a gun that shoots babies. or eggs of their species.
Indeed.
That's crazy, and I love it.
Yeah.
And these are all things that could have been answered in the sequel, but it's been so long we haven't gotten shit.
They're like orcs. They grow from the ground as corn. And
that's just a rumor.
Orcs and greenskins in general, though, are not born from sexual reproduction. They're rather grown from spores.
I think, like, the main part of this being that, like, I want more stuff like this.
Yeah.
Just in general, but also just, like, the concept of, like, hey, pick a thing, clowns. Okay, how do we take everything that's a clown thing and turn it into some spacefaring races technology and just play it straight and just act like it's a thing or whatever, right?
Yeah, and not undercut it. Like, this is done well.
No, like
this is the kind of thing that you usually see done on like a micro budget and be like, oh, that's cheesy and bad.
Yeah.
But all the same things that are cheesy and bad, when you like hype it up to 11, it's like, oh no, that's good.
And there's so many. We didn't even talk about the balloon animal, like the hunting dog.
Oh my God, yes, the
hunting
dog balloon animal.
Yeah.
Hurry! They're coming!
And then when he runs it over,
yeah, like stuff like that, because literally every single thing that you, like, I'm kind of now pissed, because in my head, I think when he Trick Flowers the guy, it's like a different guy and his face like melts off.
For me?
Because it's like acid again.
Yeah, that would be good.
But I forgot about the acid pies, so like whatever. But there was no like pulling an endless thing, right? Imagine like that's how the clown like gets out of the jail or does something else where he's like
gets knocked off a cliff and then you see him climbing one of those things.
One of the giant ropes or whatever. Yeah, there's like more clown stuff even.
Sure. For the sequel.
Well, like let alone picking like other things, but this concept, this idea of like something that is so known and normal to us, and we know all the associated things, and you could just like do like a whiteboard of like, what do you associate with clowns? And it's like 50 words. It's like this huge thing, and then just find places like the cotton candy cocoons. Like, what's their fuel source? Think of some dumb thing, right? It's all these amazing.
It's obviously butter.
Great. Oh. But all these amazing things that you could do with with ideas like that, and you're right, the creativity like surpasses any of the like. What do you mean? Like, why would these aliens have clown shit? I'm like, nah, you're missing the entire point of this.
Yeah.
Right. The aliens are not pretending to be clowns. The aliens aren't secretly like all clowns aren't are not secretly aliens. It's this like third thing that's like we just have aliens that happen to be all clown shit, and they come to a planet that happens to have clowns, and that's a beautiful like concept.
The sequel would be them invading like a clown convention or going to a clown college or something,
right?
Some shit like that, where like the people would see the things they're doing and like as oh that's impressive, and it would just blend in a little bit.
Yeah, it's like Dracula on Halloween or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of what's the name of that movie? That would have been great if I remembered that movie.
Spaced Invaders.
That's another one though. That's pretty. Anything on Halloween works, but there's one. The Wolfman's Got Nards one.
Oh, Monster Squad.
Monster Squad.
Wolfman's got nards.
Okay, so I think after all this, we can safely say this movie holds up, highly recommended. Even if you've heard us talk about it, you can watch it and enjoy it.
Yeah, this is good, and this is one you can totally watch with like your younger nephew or whatever, because it's essentially a PG-13 like movie, only for little scenes. It's mostly like totally parental guidance approved.
We
holds
certainly
up.
approve.
It's not just nostalgia. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's alright.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Killer clowns from outer space. Holy shit.
Cannibal Video has everything you need. A wide array of VHS and DVDs. We ate the competition, now it's only us. Our expert staff opinion